It's hard to let someone into your home. There's an inherent vulnerability to that arrangement, giving someone access to all your potential secrets, to watch your child, to be inside your walls and behind your locked doors, in the most vulnerable of one's spaces. There's perhaps equal vulnerability for a new live-in employee whose work life and personal life are irreducibly entangled. You're in an unnatural situation, and extraordinarily vulnerable behind closed doors. Those inherent tensions fuel Paul Feig's The Housemaid, just as they did in The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. The Housemaid takes that inherently tense premise into unexpected places, boasting serious sex appeal and one of the year's most entertaining twists, though its across-the-board unevenness severely limits its overall success.
What is The Housemaid about?
The Housemaid centers on Millie, a young woman in unstable conditions who really needs a job. She interviews to be the live-in housemaid of a wealthy family, Nina and Andrew Winchester, and their cold daughter, Cecilia. The former is kind but often veers into manic or otherwise less than hinged territory, while the latter is never around and seems kind in a wealthy dreamboat sort of way. Trouble starts to brew in the apparent paradise, but Millie needs the job, given her troubled past. A young woman trapped in an increasingly unstable situation, a family with emerging secrets. What can go wrong?
The Housemaid is uneven, but at its best when embracing campy madness. The Housemaid worked structurally like a From Software boss fight. It proceeds with one clear narrative path, there's a relevant twist, and then the film and our understanding of its players transform wildly towards a spectacular end. Before the pivot, it's a mixed bag. Some solidly conceived moments slowly build tension before being punctuated by the interjection of odd, unique situations that increasingly put poor Millie in a complicated spot. There's rising sexual tension between Millie and Andrew, and it's believably steamy in a way that echoes the 90s erotic thrillers of yore, in all their messy, dangerous hotness. The Housemaid landed some of the hottest young talent working and smartly leans into it, and that works. When the twist lands, new light is cast on its events in an unexpected way, and after a short, exposition-laced reinterpretive detour, the story takes a step back from erotic and pivots into absolutely batshit crazy thriller territory. The last leg is easily the best part of the film overall. The Housemaid is a wild ride, at its best when it's a campy exhibition of Eros and Thanatos. Freud would love it. Sweeney gives an uneven performance as Millie, trying desperately to assuage an increasingly sus home-work situation. The beginning of the film isn't the firmest showcase of her performative talent, as Millie's quieter moments and considerable voiceover feel stiff at times, or awkwardly muted. She's more than up to the task as the tension escalates in the film's final half, landing the intensity with believable badassery and delivering cold quips with style. Amanda Seyfried is stellar throughout, exhibiting a wide range from kind and docile to a decidedly different energy, and really landing the movie's final act well. Brandon Sklenar gives considerable range to Andrew, which ratchets to appropriate intensity when it needs to, and the cast all have charming, slightly chaotic mutual chemistry.
The Housemaid isn't perfect, though it sticks a glorious landing.
The substantial first leg of the film is a bit of a slog as the tension builds quite slowly, and it's a hot minute until something disturbing or potentially dangerous occurs. What happens in the film's finale stretches belief a tad, but it's sufficiently fun and campy that it still works. The transition is over-explained, as the twist is accompanied by an inadvisably significant level of exposition. Overall, the film is structurally muddled, with slow initial pacing in the beginning, making the runtime all too evident, and it takes too long to get to the best stretch. Despite all that, The Housemaid sticks the landing for one of the most entertaining finales this year. All this is to say that The Housemaid is a difficult film for a reviewer, composed of two halves that are technically a unified vision, but which feel very different in length, vibe, effect, and even in performance. The first portion is an exposition-heavy drag, with a sometimes wooden performance from Sweeney. The tension nicely ratchets up at times, and Seyfried's always good, but it's slower, with predictable dialogue and plot contrivances. When things do take a turn, it becomes a much better picture. When it's sexy, violent, or bonkers, it's a wildly enjoyable romp, and Sweeney kills it anytime she's allowed to dial emotions up to 10. Was it great? For the majority of its runtime, no. Would I watch the sequel it teases? Yes. Inside, you are two wolves, and if they're watching The Housemaid in different parts, the one watching the ending is the happier wolf by far. The Housemaid comes to theaters on December 19.